section and fold in open, right?
Yep, we just went live. So, hello everyone. Welcome to round 4 of February Thursday Nighter. We're very lucky to again have I am Nubair back to commentate. Welcome, Nubair.
Thank you. Good evening, guys.
And to give a little bit more context on tonight, because we got some big games. So, we've got Connor versus Miles on board 1 on camera. We also have Dane against Thomas on camera. So, those are the players on camera. Um, and big game between Miles and Connor because if Connor wins tonight, he's actually prone to potentially make national master. So
Well,
big game for him. But Miles definitely putting up a challenge so far in this game that we're about to look at. And also, if we look down a little bit towards the lower boards, scroll down just for a moment. Can give you guys one more
mhm.
preview. Thomas, I believe he's on board 7, maybe.
Yeah.
Yep, Thomas Hayden. So yeah, I went to the casual night at the club yesterday. Met Thomas, played him, actually lost to him in a blitz game, so I'm 0-1 against Thomas. So he should definitely be graduating to Premier soon. But if he wins tonight, I believe he's going to be crossing 1700 and graduate into the Premier section. So we've kind of got some graduation potential games tonight. So just wanted to give that extra context. And then also one other piece is on board 1 there, they actually are playing for a $150 prize, and that was donated by the tournament director Nathan. So instead of his getting his um, tournament directing fee, he donated it to the prize fund. So thank you very much for Nathan for helping provide that prize. We
That's
really
great.
appreciate it. But with that, let's actually get into the games.
Yeah, lots of interesting games and stories, and a lot to play for the players today, guys. So let's start with the game of Miles versus Connor, where if Connor wins, he becomes national master. So let's see this game from the beginning. This is the live position. He's up on time, so he's maintaining clock very well. Let's see. So knight f3, knight c6, an interesting choice by Connor. Play for a win with the black pieces. He goes for some kind of a Chigorin defense. And white just tries to play simple, keep it simple. Should be fine. Okay. Now this is quite interesting here. A few things. This is a pen. Maybe e6 is possible. Okay, he goes queen d6 directly. Knight d2, a6, and bishop e2 back. So now the point is after this, the queen on d6 is misplaced, because if you capture, then you lose a tempo. If you do not, then maybe c5 possible someday. We never know. You cannot easily castle long because c5 b4 would be very, very strong. So maybe he has to play e6 here now. And then, okay, c5 came. Queen a4, bishop e7, and knight e5.
So
And back, yeah.
I already have one question. So why Queen D8 instead of Queen D7?
Maybe for the same reason, because queen d7 also some kind of a knight e5 he was afraid of or something, or maybe some discovered attack, or let's say someday, let's say you play b4, knight into b4, and knight e5 is coming with the attack. Maybe something like this, knight b4, and we have got queen b3. Another problem is if you go back, you lose another pawn. And if you don't go back, then there's a knight e5, losing a piece. And even if you try to be smarter with bishop f3, knight f3, and play a5, still there is a3, and I believe, or even 95 first, like I believe white is just winning here, because after a3, knight c6, there's a bishop b5, and there's no good way to defend this. So I think it was important to prevent 95. Okay, now we are not sure how good is queen d6, or how he could have continued after this point, whether he should have played b5 or not to prevent any kind of c4. Now that's all, maybe e5 is possible or not. It's a different question, but I think c5 queen d8 is okay, because this was a bit risky. As in this, you have to give up the bishop probably first, and then maybe just play like this. But again, this b4 is coming at some point.
Yeah, and then also c5 there. Is that a pretty classy decision by Miles? I mean, I always get a little bit nervous about releasing the tension, but it is a tempo on the queen.
Yeah, like let's put it like this way. Like if the structure is like this, it's not so great because you can simply play b6 and stuff like that. But in this game, we saw bishop went to b5, kind of provoked a6, and then he came back. So whether it was a good or bad, only time will tell. But white also managed to, like, white played two moves, like bishop got to e2. But when we talk about black, he played queen d6 and queen d8. So black did not improve the queen position. So definitely white got an extra move, bishop e2, and that is why white is better here, because already queen f4 and white has developed four pieces and black could only do three. And
So
again, the b4 b5 is there.
if I'm understanding correctly there, then what you're saying is shove and pass with c5 is a little better because a6 is already played. If he
Yeah,
could pull the pawn back to a7, then c5 would be kind of bad because they could play b6 and challenge it fairly effectively.
yeah.
Okay.
Now this is a serious weakness. Okay, he can play castle here because again, knight e5, I'm not so sure, because the problem is, like, okay, he may take or he may not take. The problem is after you take, he simply has 27, and then you cannot, like, win some material because it's a pin. Your queen is pinned. So not really sure about how great his queen f4. Maybe still b4 could have been tried, and the idea is remains the same. You still play queen b3, and after knight c6 or after a5, you have got e3. So knight c6, queen into b7, and something like this may be possible. But this simply looks winning to for me for white, because again there's a queen f4. Okay, queen d7 and bishop b5. So this is winning
Nice
for white.
tactics.
Yeah. So maybe some just pure b4 queen b3 or 4 ideas would have been better. But okay, black has bishop e7, and it's not like the end of the world. It's going to be a game. Now you cannot play a4 because then he captures, and after queen b3, you got a5. You don't have that important a3 push. So maybe queen b3 with the idea of a4 b5, and still the rook would be hanging. So it's going to take some time before white gets some pretty significant advantage. Okay, he has advantage. He has got space. He has got everything under control. But maybe if b6 comes, or if black finds some way to equalize, maybe it's not that bad. It just looks bad. But okay, it would have been different game. We are having bishop ne5 on the board. King, king's king got blanc cloud. And now the point was, yes, I was talking about this knight c6 queen d7 idea, but it doesn't work when you have castle, because after that knight e7 is a check. So he just decided to sacrifice a pawn there, and now the queen is a bit awkward. Development is not done, so I'm just aiming for e5 here. Maybe e5 directly was even possible, like just sacrificing a pawn. But okay, he decided to play rook e8, rook d1, bishop f8, and he's going very, very classy. Knight f3, knight e4, bishop d2. Yeah, that's why this was important. Like rook b8, you need to play this move. You might lose one more pawn, but you're already down a pawn, so you cannot defend but just by being a down a pawn. Miles is playing well so far. We can definitely see so. But why f4? I mean, look at the bishop. Like he did so much hard work to improve the bishop from c1 to g3 to attack the c7 pawn. Well done. Okay. Then black plays rook e7. Now the rook is dead. He just can simply improve the rook position or play b4, a4, b5, and anything which is very, very simply winning. But instead, like e5, he has got 25 or something like that. Or he can just simply play king f1, and so that there is no e5 and simply takes, you can capture. Instead, he thinks that e5 is very, very strong and plays f4. According to me, still you cannot prevent e5 because capture, and it's going to come anyways. And more importantly, you have harmed your bishop in the process.
So let's just look at what
So
he was worried about just for a second. Then, if you didn't play f4, what's the better move? And then what if they play e5?
maybe just king f1.
Okay, so king f1, e5. Let's just see what he was worried about just for a moment.
And yeah, so maybe just capture.
Okay.
Or in fact, even it's possible to capture like this and capture like this. But then the problem is not really a problem, but you lose a pawn, or let's say you don't remain 2 pawns up instead of being one. So if you want to be 2 pawns up, just capture like this, capture like this, capture like this, and that's all. Like you had 2 pawns up. Okay, one check is coming, but it's nothing.
Makes sense.
The rook is badly placed, and black pieces are badly placed. Now rook e1 is being threatened here already.
So yeah, e5 kind of phantom threat because queen takes d5 just really strong.
Yeah, so we just move the king. But okay, instead he plays f4, rook b8, queen. Now, so now there's a one hidden trap here. So for example, now black played rook to b8. You might think that the pawn is hanging. Okay, I can play rook b1, maybe b3 or knight b3. But the problem is whatever you play, he has rook b5. And now the queen is getting trapped. And this is something very, very serious.
Wow. That's a crafty idea. Yeah, you always have to be. I'm always scared to play like bishop takes a6 because I'm worried they're gonna play like b5, trap my bishop back in a
Maybe now it's time.
totally unrelated position. But yeah, it's always kind of scary to have your piece off sides and get it trapped in by your opponent's pieces. So.
Yeah. And maybe it's either maybe something like this is the only option to save, like get sufficient, or I'm not sure it's sufficient or not. It should be better for black. But something like would have been the only option for white. But maybe again there are moves like rook b4 and stuff, and you just lose immediately. Like I'm not sure if even if you can get a piece here, because the queen is just getting trapped. Like you cannot capture anything even, and this is one of the very rare occurrences. Like you lose queen, okay, people lose queen, the queen gets trapped, but at least you get a piece or a rook. But here it's like you can only get a pawn.
Crazy.
So yeah, I mean, Conrad has found something with this weird idea, and that's why Miles decided to play queen f4. He understood that there's rook b5 coming in, and it's not good for his queen. So wait a sec, why he didn't capture? Maybe just rook b1, and he's thinking that let's say capture, and then this rook is very, very bad compared to this one, and white has the initiative. So, and if he plays rook b7, then there's queen a6, forcing him to capture, kind of capture, and maybe again e5 and some counterplay is possible. But maybe just king moves, and it's not much. I don't know where to move exactly, but let's say king d2, and as long as knight is not coming to e4 f5, white is absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, you see an e5 as counterplay, but I'm also seeing it as improving black's bishop g3. So it seems kind of double edged, but I guess that's what you have to do when you're down a clean pawn.
Yeah. So black decided to play e5 because Connor needs to win today to become a national master. But I would have preferred the e5 break with rook on e8. Makes more sense, but adds more pressure here. But okay, better late than never. And you still put some pressure. Okay, he goes king f2 again. I would have liked king f1 more because I want the bishop to be more mobile. King f2. So, and also it prevents checks like this. Yes.
So now that Connor's breaking with e5, is this partially justifying Miles playing f4 earlier, or is how is the f4 pawn looking now that he's actually pursued the e5 break?
It's not good. It's not good. Something which makes your pieces bad cannot be good. Also, it weakens your king further. For example, just like I said, with pawn on f3, knight g4 check is never coming. But now imagine he plays knight h6. You have to play some kind of h3 to prevent that check because it's annoying. The e3 is getting under pressure. And then you play h3, then he plays knight f5. Let's just see. So you play h3, he plays knight f5. Now again, there are 2 more weaknesses to defend. And it's getting terrible. Like the momentum is clearly shifting in favor of Connor in this game, because After this, like until this point, okay, everything was going good, and suddenly this F4 happened, and because of which, okay, if you just king F1, life is good. Or if even if he just comes back, I think it's pretty fine. It's pretty good, and we just play king F1 next, no issues. But instead, he went F4, and now we already see some counterplay. I would have preferred knight h6 first for these reasons. But okay, maybe rook b7 is now possible. Now look at one more tactical possibility. So previously we were just playing queen into a6 and rook b1, and everything was fine, and we were remaining the upper pawn. But now there's a rook d2 here. King is not on e2 anymore. We cannot play king d2, so we lose the piece. So when your position starts getting, I won't say worse, but when things doesn't go your way, you start losing up momentum, and then suddenly the tactics which were working for you doesn't start working. Like for example, this line simply queen a6 variation, because your pieces has been misplaced, and now he plays rook b7 in the game. He takes back, and I think this is something very perfect position to play for a win as a from the black side in a must-win game. And wait, did he trap his rook? Wait a sec. So if I capture this, how he's going to defend the rook? Okay, he wants to play queen e4. Makes sense. Interesting idea. And he survives. He could have
Yeah,
survived, but now,
that's on the edge.
yeah, on the edge. But if it gets you something, like because if you lose d4, you lose c5, and you just lose the game.
Wow.
Mm. So Connor is definitely playing on the edge because he wants to win the game to become a national master. So he's taking all his chances, and he even sacrificed his rook. Okay, he didn't have an option here, but he has played d takes d4, wins c2, and now simply I was just wondering if I can play this more. Like this is a bit too much, uh, or this is a bit too much. So my idea was queen e3, king f1, and now simply you play d3. The point is queen has to be moved. You cannot attack this queen easily because it will attack this and this. Or if you play rook e1, it will queen again on c1. So you must move your queen, and after white moves the queen, there's a bishop c5. And there's no really good way to defend this. Apart from that, you also cannot keep the rook hanging. Like you must play queen b3, queen a4, queen b1. Otherwise, there's a queen e2 check attacking the rook. So for example, you say, let's say queen b3, you capture here, and now queen e2 is a checkmate threat. If you play rook e1, queen g1 is a checkmate threat. So, and if you play an f3, queen e2 is made. So this is definitely not easy, but there's a luckily check here. And now who is actually winning this? Knight f8. Okay, if he goes back, no point. So he must play this, queen d8, king f7, queen into c7, and king g6, f5, king h5. So king runs, for sure. And he can always play some kind of a queen into bishop and
Yeah, is that is
try.
is the knight bishop rook gonna hold up against the queen?
Yeah. Those three pieces would be stronger against the queen, but the problem here is they are not well connected. Like this queen c2, queen e2 ideas are coming and pieces are hanging. But more importantly, if white wants, he can just make a draw here because there is just no need to capture on c7. He can just give up a check. You go down, he gives a check. So at some day, you have to either put this or go here. Bishop e7 makes no sense in my opinion because you lose d5. So you go here. If you blunder with this, then there's a king at 6. And if you play queen g4, it's simply a draw with king f7 and repetition. And king at 6, okay, just queen h4 he can play at least. If not, and now bishop f2 is winning for, not really winning. There's a queen e2 as well. So basically, and one more line which I was talking about was queen d7, king here, f5, and now okay, king h5. There's a, oh wow, this is very beautiful. I hope I'm not blundering something, or maybe I'm blundering. So the point is, after you play king h5, there's a checkmate with queen e2. queen e2 and
You're you're breaking up.
queen d8,
You're
queen
breaking up a
g1.
little bit right now.
Oh,
So I think we're having a little bit of issues with our call. It might be totally on my side here. My apartment's been having some internet issues.
just a moment. Need to fix this. Wait only for maybe a few seconds, and I'll fix this and reshare the screen.
All right, perfect. Yeah, yeah. We were kind of the call's kind of
Or
breaking
is
up.
it fine now?
Um, I'm not sure yet. Here, switch to game two. See if that helps a little bit for a
Ah,
second.
okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's working again. So I think we just
All
had
right.
I think
So
we just had some lag there for a minute. I'm not sure. It could have been
okay.
my
So
side
the
or yours.
temporary
I'm not sure.
adjustment worked. Okay. Sorry for the technical glitch, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, we were looking at the very important and interesting position here, which was this king f1 d3, and this actually happened in the game. They played in the entire same line. Queen b1. Okay, instead of queen b3, he went queen b1. Makes sense. Uh, Bishop c5 and threatening a checkmate. He goes queen b8, and he did not play knight to d8 because white could at least draw this in this with. Also, there's a queen d5. So, but okay, queen d5. Okay. There's no king e7. Rook e1 wins. And if you go king f5, I believe he has some kind of a f5, king h6, and bishop f4 idea. So now you must capture, and then he'll just try to consolidate with knight f3. And white is still a rook up, like so. Now, but still there's a queen e3, and the game is not over. You just need to defend these two checks, I think, and it's over. Yeah. So eventually, white ends up winning with this f5 idea. So definitely, Conor has miscalculation there. Um, Playing this rook c2 idea. He thought maybe queen b3, d4, and this rook sacrifice will work somehow, but it didn't pay off as of now.
So if he didn't have queen b8 there, was it working?
Yeah, it was working for white. Uh, so
Okay.
it was important for Connor to defend the rook. Like he decided to sacrifice it, or I don't know, he blundered or sacrificed or miscalculated something, but he could have just simply gone to b8 or any other square, or let's say just go down rook b8, I think.
I'm wondering if what he missed though is that white had queen b8. Like, is that mate actually working for black if he doesn't have queen b8?
Yeah, maybe he first of all missed the check and maybe thought, okay, if it checks, okay, I'll just move the king. But the king had no escape square. So maybe if you had to sacrifice, even this position was a good option to sacrifice. But I'm not sure like if black can win that because it's a bit too. You can sacrifice like this. I meant like not really queen into e3 line. You can sacrifice just like the positional sacrifice. And now the problem is he cannot go king f1 because e2 is there, so he has to go king g1 or something. And now you simply play queen c5 or some kind of ed2. Queen c5 is also possible because we are threatening e2 next. So something like this would have been possible. And I know okay, he has now got 2 pawns and a knight for the rook. And if he gets 94, I think he has a great compensation. Like black is much better if he gets these two moves. So maybe he could have done the positional sacrifice instead of going for the dynamic approach here.
Yeah, Connor's really pulling out all the stops though. He's kind of going for ambitious opening, and then stacking a pawn for activity, and then stacking a full rook. So, but Miles doing a good job playing gatekeeper here, and also showing why he's won the tournament a few months already. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. But if Miles actually wins this game, maybe we'll have a race for master between Connor and Miles coming up.
Yeah, definitely. And so that's why Connor decided to play bishop f8 and keep the game going. But guys, he's down a rook. but he has got some threat. You cannot just play queen c7 or like any other move. And that is why Miles is thinking he has got 15 minutes to defend and win this game, while Connor has got 51 minutes. So yes, Miles is winning, but he needs to defend some threats and find way to. I don't see a way actually. How do you defend queen e2 here? If you just come back, okay, maybe he can repeat. Like he will play queen b3, he plays bishop c5, and he again gives a check, and he again goes back, again go back. That's funny, but
That would be
it's
that
possible.
would be well. I mean, maybe the I can't imagine Connor be too disappointed with the draw. I mean,
After the
when
things which
when you're probably getting when you're forced to play bishop f8, you're already probably worried about your losing chances. But maybe he actually has seen all this. I wouldn't be
maybe.
shocked. He's quite the blindfold player. So
Wait, I have found one new idea. Not sure how great it is, but it's an interesting one. So you just play rook e1, you just say, okay, I don't want this knight. Anyway, it was doing nothing. And now you go rook to d, rook to e, threatening a checkmate. You don't have queen e2, you have these two checks. I believe you can play something like queen c1 here and go queen c5 next, like bishop e1, and maybe you just defend queen c5. But if you play queen c5, then we have another perpetual coming up with bishop b4, queen c1, bishop e1. Okay, we have got this queen takes f4 as well here. So maybe it's black who is somehow. Wait, I think it's going to be perpetual at the end of the day. But there's a queen d6 as well, and bishop b4 c5. What's happening? Queen d6, knight d6, bishop c5 d2. Wow,
well,
it's working for. So I was talking about this line basically. Now the queen is attacked, so he must capture, and it's not really working because everything hanging and d2 is coming. So white cannot really do that or afford that. So maybe it's not a great idea to play rook e1 because it's not really working. You can get a draw with it, but not win. So then this is a better way to make draw, I believe, if you want to make draw.
well, we've got quite the battle on board one. It's definitely living up to the drama of the game. So appreciating that. But we probably should move on to some other boards to make sure we get to everyone tonight.
All right. So we have got Thomas on board two playing against Sagar, Dane, and this king looks weak as of now. There's a rook here coming in next. Let's see from the beginning.
Thomas been showing some sharp attacking play lately.
So Zaga decided to play a Petrov, a very solid line to play against attacking players.
He's Petrov main, so happy to see it. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
Dane's leaning into his Petrov finally. Just I'm gonna be playing that and learning it, and not trying to surprise people with his Fort Knox French and Sicilian Con. He's got quite the rep. He's got a variety of weapons, but Petrov's definitely his main.
Yeah, it's quite solid and gives you chances if your opponent overtries. So castle. Now let's see if with his expertise he has managed to get knight on e4 with symmetrical position, even being black. So he's at upper tempo. e4 c6 h3 97. Okay. Maybe knight f6 is also possible here, and simply better, I believe. But he took. And now I thought maybe he wanted to play dc4, bishop c4, knight b6, and some kind of a knight d5 ideas. Let's say he goes here and you play bishop e6. And if he goes the other way around, you go bishop f5, and black is absolutely fine in my opinion. But instead he plays rook e8 first. Bit strange. Like if you want to play rook e8, you play directly. What's the need to play knight c3? Because now look, that's the difference. So now he plays queen c2 and you have to defend the pawn. But previously, if you play rook e8 and he plays queen c2, you just play knight f6. And you just simply keep on developing your pieces. Like there's absolutely no problem. So
And I imagine knight f6 is always the square that's going to, because you're just gonna get 4 up 10 b6. So
But okay, Zaga decide to simplify and then go like knight f8. Yeah, and now white is just creating weakness in black's camp, and now it's now it's slightly getting, I won't say better, but pleasant for white.
Well, at least f6 suppresses knight f3 a bit.
Mm-hmm. Bishop e7, rook b1, b6. Okay,
So
takes takes.
here we're seeing like the first game is it's better circumstances with the pawn on a7 that can recapture now. You can whittle down at that
Yes.
center a little bit more effectively when you recapture with your a pawn.
Yeah, and it opens up the A file, and it's like the traditional capture or a very typical capture in maintaining a good pawn structure. But when you play A6, and then there's no kick of playing B6, because then you have to play CB6, and you still remain with the weaknesses and you get nothing in return. So mm, C5 is not so great when the pawns are like A7, B7. If there's A6 or A5 has been played already, okay, C5 makes sense. So a lot of sense actually.
Well, I never understood that dynamic before today, so that's a good learning point.
Mm-hmm. Rook Q1, Bishop F7, Bishop F4. Okay. B5. Okay. Rook E3. I'm trying to understand the play basically here. Okay, rook E1, okay, normal, bishop F7 is normal, bishop F4. And then suddenly B5. Okay, we see that white is improving his pieces, but not really sure who's actually improving more. Because like black can get away with this, or if the knight comes to C4 someday, or simply if he gets rook A4, queen A5, rook A8, somehow, let's say he bishop gets exchanged and he gets this going on a file, then white may have problems. So he shifts his attention to the king side and simply wants to put pressure on the bishop. Knight g6, bishop saved, rook a7. Okay, something like bishop f8 was also fine, I believe, because um, mm, you just want to keep pressure on a2 pawn. Like you don't really want to defend like this. You want to exchange one active rook with your passive rook. Let's say this one, and you just try to somehow, go rook a6, rook a4, whatever, and try to put more pressure on a2 pawn. Instead, rook a7 was played in the game. And okay, he had his own way of doing things. And now
So
he's playing rook a3.
it feels a bit
Yeah,
odd to me that you play like I feel like you played b5, he got that diagonal open to play queen a5, but then you played rook a7, queen a8. So if you're gonna play rook a7, queen a8, why not just do that immediately instead of playing b5 to start?
absolutely, absolutely. And the only pressure or the tension which black would have always is, the tension in the e file. So it was like pretty obvious that you exchange one rook and long back. Even here, it's possible. One rook and just keep the position like it is as it is, and just go queen f5 and put pressure on this guy and claim a win.
So then my only other logic to his move, maybe he's worried about c4, is if you pull the pawn back to b6, is c4 any threat at all? I guess that would just probably make bishop f7 much better. But
Yeah, and now because of negligence of exchanging rooks and or playing passive here on the king side, now white is trying to create some threats. Like he cannot move the h5 because d6 hangs. H5 is coming on the next move. You cannot really play bishop f8 also because simply takes or h5 and you don't have knight f8 to defend that sun pawn. So now because of these things, suddenly the momentum is shifting in white's favor.
yeah, I feel
And
like
look, he has to go back again.
yeah, it seems like knight f8 really made not a lot of sense to me when we're thinking about it because we already kind of know knight g6 or knight g3, like it's badly positioned because it gets hit by h5, it gets hit by the edge pawn. We know it's kind of, and then where else is the knight going to go? E6, but you already played f6, so it's not solid there. So what's its path back into the game even from f8? I mean, I guess knight f4, but I mean, you're not controlling that square, so
Yeah. So simply white has now the initiative, and simply he even plays bishop f5 first, like no need to play h5. I would have even played h5, like h5 knight goes back and just create more holes. So if he captures, okay, we have got lots of weaknesses. We could simply exploit with knight h4, knight f5 idea. And if he plays, let's say, if he ignores or pushes the pawn, then someday maybe some sacrifice, or at least we have a very strong pawn, which is a hook, and which cannot be attacked easily. So this would have also helped him somehow. And now simple idea could be like queen g2, queen f4, and just trying to capture here. In my opinion, pretty strong.
yeah, I could see being worried though that black's solid there. I mean, it looked. I see your point, but it also seems like you are worried. I'm always worried when I get my H pawn up there that if I lock it all down, like maybe I would have been happier keeping the tension, and I was a bit tough.
Yeah, this position is tough for black now. He goes back. And yeah, if he manages to eliminate this bishop somehow, or somehow if he neutralizes the attack, then it's going to be bad for white, because white has got some permanent weaknesses which he cannot resolve easily. And now he's trying to exchange one pair of rooks, finally understood. And now, okay, until this point, until h4, Thomas was playing good because the moves were obvious. But after this, he was not so sure what to do. Like he played rook a7, and suddenly his attack is not working against this. And he would have taken this chance, like h5 6, very obvious to me, and let's say the modern neural network engines, like they just try to push the h4, h5, for a5 whenever they get chance. And but okay, here Thomas decided not to do that, and soon went out of the plan. Like bishop, when this is getting exchanged, so he was checking all the boxes. Maybe h g6 or something was better, because allowing h5 6 is again not recommended. And now just simply h6 was not necessary, like to win this. The queen and rook is very far. The queen f4 is coming. Queen g4 might come. There are lots of weaknesses. So just h6. Also cannot move the bishop to attack the pawn, because the bishop is trapped in the middle of the board. Like with so active bishop is being trapped. Instead, queen f4 was played. A surprising part is black did not play h6 here. Like he played instead, allowing h6 again. And for no reason now he gets the tempo, because queen is on f4.
So yeah, maybe he wanted h6 because he wanted knight g6.
So look, he just wasted 2 moves to improve the black's position. And now if queen g4 comes, I'm not sure if white is attacking anymore. Like it will be like simply turn off tables. Like you play queen g4, he captures, and now it's black who's checkmating you.
Brutal.
So like he had so good position, like simply such a nice position. Okay, you just play. This was the position. You just play h5 6, and it's like a good life. Like there are so many pieces, and black has some got weakness to defend. And suddenly white does nothing. He just 3-4 moves, exchange the light square bishop, and then it's not really that good. Look, even he captured. He's like, I'm not waiting for you. You capture, I capture, you capture, I go rook g7. Now black just wants to shift his rook to g7, like because he wants to win. If he wins, he becomes national master. So
Oh wait, no, this is a different game.
sorry, I'm sorry. Thomas.
But Dane
Okay,
is Dane is on the hunt too. He's got a 2100 floor because he, if you win a lot of prize money in certain big national tournaments, which Dane did, they give you they give you a rating floor, so you can't keep doing that in more tournaments. So even though he's never made 2200, he's got a 2100 floor, and he'll be knocking on the door. So I mean, I feel like yeah, the next three masters that to my now from Thursdays are
Mhm.
probably going to be Connor, Miles, and Dane. I would guess.
Like very, very important for him, right?
You know, maybe John too is gaining some rating pretty fast, but I saw he won tonight. But so maybe John Blommer's a dark horse. But I think Connor's a shoe in, and Miles and Dane are clearly going to get there eventually.
Definitely. If not today, guys, for sure. Like in a month or two, or very soon, they'll be there. They'll. I can see they're improving. Like I'm last 6 months watching their games, watching the play. I could definitely see, at least for the premier section, there's lots of improvement in the players' play, understanding, and there are not as many as like tactical misses from both sides. Like so, and this is a sign of a journey of a player towards becoming a master. So I think for definitely like whether it's Connor, Miles, um, Zager, they will become natural master at least for sure. But many more titles to come. 22.
All right.
Ah, he did not find this beautiful idea.
So
This would have been game changer.
what's the objective evaluation here?
Objective was equal, like because there's nothing directly or something concrete for white. White has got one weakness, black has got one weakness, but it cannot be attacked. So more or less both are in same board, just on different side of the board. But I'll still take a white because I like safer king. And I don't know how to proceed with the attack because now every single square is controlled by black. And if queen g4 comes, maybe it's black who's attacking. But I'll still take white because of the exposed king.
Now knight g6 not looking so bad since you don't have an h pawn to harass it with.
Yeah, and now simply white is losing so much real here. Will he go rook e8, queen h6, something like this? He went queen e3, going queen e6, queen d7, which also makes lots of sense. Queen c3, queen e6. And now we're going to witness a perpetual here with king g8, queen e6. No, we have king h8 on the board. Now bishop d6 takes rook e7, bishop f8, queen f7. I was just wondering if chess is winning on the spot, because here you attack the rook and bishop, so he captures. Now you go rook to e8 check. There's no knight f8 because queen d6. He must go bishop f8. And now I was wondering if I can simply play queen f7. There is no rook e8 back. There is no queen a1, queen c1. Ah, there's a queen c1, my bad. And black survives.
I was also wondering, instead of queen f7, could you be funny and play queen d6? It's the same idea, but
yeah, maybe this is even more stronger because you attack the rook, so he cannot really go queen c1, queen here, but there's a one queen trade option available.
Well, could you play knight? Can you play knight e1 now since you're attacking the rook?
Yes, but then I can just simply defend like king g7 or something. And if you try to play something like this, it's also possible to play bishop e7 or just king g8. Okay, maybe just king g8. And it will be a draw, but okay, there's a king h6 as well. Now the problem point is there's no queen h3 because of knight e1. The rook defends the h3 square. So the position is interesting and could get like complicated very soon. Let's have a look at the live game first because we have got some moves over the board. He played king h8 instead of rook e8 first. Farmer decided to go queen f7. And now what if he just goes back? He just down a piece. Yes, he goes back. And bishop g7. And now what? Now finish. It's black. Who's winning this game? Though I'm not sure about this move. Like, why do you give your bishop like this?
Down a piece.
You have got so many options.
I'm not counting down a piece though. So where? I mean, he might be winning, but
yeah, but it opens up the diagonal, weakens up your king. Only thing which can harm blacks this game is the king safety part. So just play knight f4, exchange pieces, or put queen on d3, go queen f5. forget about this pawn. But
But
he went bishop.
I'm still confused here why black's winning so much in this position.
Because he's a wait. So he oh, okay, okay. I thought he's up a pawn. My bad. He gets the pawn back, and yeah, then yeah, he's not winning anymore. But again, something like uh queen c1 knight f4 ideas still, because like what I can tell you for sure 100% is you should never ever give this bishop. It's not good. You cannot give your fiancé to bishop just for to win a pawn, and especially when your opponent has dark square bishop opening up the entire diagonal. And also bishop d4, knight d4, queen d4, there's some queen c6. I know that there's a queen d1 and you lose the rook, but um like I don't approve this move. It's very, very risky.
All right, you heard that, Dan? Or wait, that you didn't play it, did you?
He play, wait a sec, wait a sec.
Yeah, go out
Did
the
he
game
play?
and back. What do you play? I don't want to.
He played. He did play because I won't play such move in analysis.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Dan, we know you're watching later. Sorry, that one gets a thumbs down from Nubair. Can't give up your dragon bishop.
Yeah, if you have got some pawns like this, f6, g7, okay, then maybe you can. But with inter king exposed on the whole diagonal, with bishop even might come like this someday. No, it's very, very risky. And now look, already he's not sure what to do because now the rook has no good squares left. And knight g5 also may come. Mm, it's not looking good for black. Like, okay, there's rook q1, so no perpetual as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing white's into some time pressure though, so it's not necessarily that easy to totally shift gears when you're low on time, but hopefully you can make it happen.
Okay, let's see. We'll come back to this game later. Let's go to Eddie versus Nathan, or Nathan playing white here. So h5, rook a2. Lots of things are happening here. Okay, I'm just wondering why. What was the last move from black? Wow. But why didn't he capture this?
Maybe he's
Because
worried
it's
about the
going
H
to be.
file.
Yeah, but he has simply got bishop d2 and rook a2. Okay, let's see it from the beginning to understand it better. I believe it was some kind of a semi-Slav. Yeah, it went into this sharp theoretical line. And yes, now more or less everything is forced in this. So guys, this is all theory. If you don't know, they just capture like this to get back the piece after a few more moves.
Yeah, and these guys are some of the most frequent players in the club. They played each other so many times, so they got each other's openings figured out for sure.
Yeah, and also black has tendency not to capture this pawn because it will be under long-term pin. There will be ideas like knight e4, queen f3. So black just ignores and continues bishop b7, queen b6 castle usually, or try to play bishop h6. h4 is an interesting new idea in which you try to bring up your rook like this. Queen d2 and c5, d5 is typical stuff. And after b4, many times we just capture and move the knight later on. But wait, can he play bishop c4 at some point? But here there's a queen b6 coming in. So he goes knight f4. Takes. Yeah, it's very typical of queens. I mean, semi-Slav. What is not typical is playing this bishop e2. Like, why not bishop e2? Like, why you are exchanging queens in this game?
Yeah, I'm not feeling
That's a
good.
bit hard to understand.
I'm not feeling good about white's king safety, but
I'm more worried about black's king safety because say bishop e2, you capture on g2, you play rook g1, you move the bishop, and I have got this move. Like, even if you play bishop f3, I can play this. You don't have queen takes e2 because it's checkmate. And even after this, I have got this move. And the problem in such kind of position is you don't only lose like this, but even the moves like this could come. and you lose like so much material in all check, 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 and eventually lose the game. So what only white needs to do is get rook on e1. That's it, and it will be very difficult for black to defend like queen king. I mean, expose king in general. He might
I
play long castle, but after castle, the knight is also under pin.
where's you can imagine White's king getting safe-ish on the king side, but Black's king, I guess the pawns are already shattered on both sides of the board. Where's that guy going?
Yeah, and this is the perfect example of um, having, say, let's say you have got space advantage, but it's a disadvantage because your king is not safe. But we have got the result. ED has won this one. So let's see. And the reason is, of course, guys, this because Nathan has played queen e3. Like, there's just no need to exchange queens here. You just play bishop e2 and keep the game going. And because he played this queen e3, the pieces got traded, and simply now black has better pawn structure. Look at white's shattered pawn structure, and it's just not looking good. He could have even played bishop here, but he attacks the a4 first and get the passed pawn, and simply creating weaknesses here. By this time, this rook would have come here to generate some counterplay, but the pieces are just not connected, and still lots of work needs to be done from white side. Whereas for black, this is just winning on the spot. Like bishop e4 is coming as well.
So wait, where did this go wrong?
Here only exchanging queens. Just play bishop e2.
So
You cannot exchange queens in a stick position.
Black getting some pretty ultra ambitious plays, shoving these pawns, but it looks like it's working out for him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do have one question for you on an opening principle. I feel like I just so we all know, you're supposed to make the minimum pawn moves possible to get all your pieces developed in castle. That's how you complete your opening. But I was also just reading from a book, kind of, you should also maybe minimize your pawn moves in the middle game because you really every time you make a pawn move, it's got an opportunity cost that you could have improved one of your pieces. Um, but I'm wondering what you think of that. Is that a little bit too dogmatic?
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about pawns, like we need to be very, very careful and specific about um, pushing them because let's say after, in the opening we can move 2 or 3 pawns, like let's say e4 d4 or e3 d3, whatever. We do these things to, let's say, develop our bishops or get the development done, or sometimes we could also flank it too. So we hardly place 3 to 4 moves at max in the opening, but after we play this whatever 3 4 moves of pawns, we need to be very, very sure about making the pawn moves, because once we move the pawn up, they cannot go back. So in simple words, we can say this, like every pawn move creates a weakness. Like whether it's e4 or d4, even the first move, it creates weakness backwards. Just like here, this all advanced pawn has created weakness backwards. So we need to be very, very precise about moving them, or we need to think twice, thrice, because once they go up, once we move them forward, they cannot come back. Other pieces can come back and balance it at times, but pawns cannot come back. So there is no advantage with the pawns, and that is why we need to be very, very careful about the pawn play. And recently we have seen this. I mean, Super Grandmaster Sam Shackland wrote 2 books on just pawn play, understanding the pawn play, volume 1 and volume 2. One he wrote in the pandemic, and then one more after its success, because it's really important. And it's that broad topic, like a book of a big book can be written on it, because pawn moves are very, very important in chess. Okay, they are little army of so big board or of so many pieces, but their moves count, their structure counts. It's the pawn structure which gives safety to the king. It's bad pawn structure which takes the king's safety. So I think it's important not to ruin pawn structure, at least like this, like because um, pawns are soul of the chess. That's what they say.
Yeah, I like that perspective a lot. I think a lot of times we think of shoving our pawns forward. Hey, we're making progress. We're taking space. We're getting into our opponent's area. But you really also need to be thinking way more about every time I move my pawn forward, I lose 2 squares. that they can move pieces into my area. And we saw,
Mm-hmm.
even in Dane's game, he played f6, and then he kind of was having some problems on g6 and e6 on occasion. Because, yeah, you play f6, you're not controlling those squares anymore. Um, so, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Not saying you can't make pawn moves, you got to just be careful with them, and understand exactly what squares you want to control and if it's worth it or not. And that's the only reason I brought that up is because it seemed like it worked out well for Eddie this game, but he kind of just threw his queenside pawns, and so I feel like, yeah, he was lacking king safety. It did work out for him this game, but I would be a little bit nervous throwing my queenside pawns like that. But
Yeah, like it's a risky line, so sometimes you get rewarded, sometimes you learn. But okay, if your opponent exchanges queens like this, I think all the times you will win the game, and that's what happened in the game. After that, it was a very easy play for black. No bishop d3 there because simply rook d8 is also possible. Now bishop g2 is hanging. Apart from that, so many problems for black to solve. I don't know why he did not play rook a2 simply because it's
yeah,
bet in one. Just he played
rookie takes
some
here.
long castle, some different kind of flex he did here.
what move? What move is it? Move 24 castle. That's funny.
No, no, no. My bad, my bad. This is a blunder. Sorry, guys. This is a blunder, and it's a checkmate. My bad, my bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is a check. Yeah.
Yeah, we are analyzing without the engine. I have heard from some of our viewers. They're like, they're watching us back. They're wrong. But that's what happens with no engine analysis. I'm sure we are kind of making fools of ourselves now and then, hanging mates when you guys are like, what are they talking about? But then you get unfiltered views that everyone can turn the engine on, and you guys are all analyzing your game with your engine anyways. So this way you get a second perspective that some real human eyes.
Um, I believe like whether it's whatever commentary it is, the views has to be the natural. If the views are influenced or let's say with the engine, then there's no fun. Like then you miss out the fun. So as
Yeah,
long as it's natural, it's more interesting and more unfiltered. So I think that's a better way. Like when I used to stream, also it was always like this. Like even like I did the Olympiad broadcast and all with like many title players without engines. Like it's better to because when the players are playing, they are also not having the engine, so it becomes easier to understand the thought process and to get natural moves first, then to see the engine lines. Okay, maybe you can put a bar to just have an the val bar just to have an idea about whether it's good for white or black. But to have complete engine lines visible, I think it takes all the fun from the commentary. Also for the audience, because then audience is also not having the access to engine if they are watching, let's say, live on YouTube, Twitch, or any other platform. They only get access to engines if they watch it from Chess.com or Lichess or something like that, where they have Stockfish or something.
perfect. Well, yep. I think we got a nice broadcast going. I'm definitely liking the no engine vibe. I use the engine when I'm solo, but you know, uh, as long as we got a strong player on here, I'm very happy to not use it.
Mm, Yeah, I mean, even the world champion uses engine at times, so it's absolutely fine. The engines are there to help us, facilitate us, but to use how much? Like it's very important. Like at times, yes, we have to use engine. Some portions are extremely sharp, and there's no point every time you use your brain and try to figure out everything. Like then what's the use of engines? So we have to use engine, but in the optimum way or the right way or in the right balance to make sure that your brain keeps working in a good way and doesn't start, because if you only use engine, then you will not be able to see moves or find moves, and if you do not use engine at all, then you are fooling yourself. So you need to find the right balance between the technological advantages and the natural process.
Perfect. I totally agree with all that.
Okay, so now the point is, if takes this rook a2 and there's a checkmate, and there is no bishop b5 or bishop b3, because then the second rook will join in and it will still deliver a checkmate. So now he played bishop d3 directly, thinks trying to survive. So what he does is he goes bishop d3, And now white could have simply captured on d3 to survive mate. But instead, he played some kind of a e4, which is honestly speaking impossible for me to understand. Because look, you have option to take a bishop. You're not taking it because okay, there are some checkmate problems. I understand, I agree with you. Then what you do, you try to exchange the bishop, you try to eliminate the problem. Black captures it, okay. So now it's your first duty to capture the problem. Instead, you are playing e4. You are also not capturing bishop h6, which would have attacked the rook and bishop at the same time, forcing rook a2, rook d3, and some kind of a rook a8. Now, if you get checkmated in this, it's your bad luck. I mean, you cannot do much. Or if the queen is coming, maybe you can play king d1 and still, I'm not sure if it's checkmate or not. There's a rook g2 here, there's a e4 there, rook a1 is coming, you have got bishop c1. Wait a sec. So no rook g3. Yeah, so e4 is coming, rook a1 is coming, bishop c1 is coming. And now c2 checkmates. Somehow. So maybe it's working, but you have to capture the bishop. If you do not capture the bishop, then how do you win this? He played e4. Hard to understand. Maybe he's relying on this idea that some checkmate is possible if he captures. Okay, he captures e4. He attacks the bishop. Again, relying on some tactics, so he goes back to g6. Now you cannot play h5 because it comes with a check. So he played bishop h6. And now rook a2, threatening a checkmate. And he resigned here because the mate cannot be avoided. Yeah, I think a very good game by ED.
Yep, just creating an artificial back rank there with pawn and bishop.
Yeah, let's okay. We have lots of games to cover up, and of course we'll go to the board 4 and so on. But we already have the results on the board, and I believe the corner game is very interesting going on with 2 minutes for Miles and 41 minutes for corner. He's down an exchange, but he has got bishop and a pawn, so sufficient enough to hold.
I thought he was up a queen for exchange. No, I didn't realize the queen was about to get recaptured. So I was like, how did that happen? But okay.
So I believe this game is going to be one of the longest game of today's, as long as they're not accepting to a draw. So this will go on. So we'll come back to this game later.
Okay.
About this, so as I said, we left it around here, saying that bishop d4 is terrible. Bishop d6, rook f6, check. Okay, knight d4. And yeah, he just needs to figure out some way in which he can get bishop here somehow. So he went bishop g3. I don't like this. Simply check is good. And you just try to capture something or put queen e6 so that there's no queen d1, but he went bishop g3. So guys, black is just trying to somehow trap white with queen c6 idea so that he can get a rook. And that is why we saw many times black playing rook f6 and rook f8. Okay, so if we see last 5 moves, white has done nothing. Like he just played this moves and made the bishop back, but look, black just improved. And this is what happens when you play without a plan. Your opponent will just improve his position, and you will be in trouble very soon. So d4 happened, rook e6 happened, and now queen f5, maybe just rook d6, or he has got options to play queen f5 or to play queen g5, because queen g5 will keep the option of making a draw by perpetual check. And now the c6 pawn is also hanging. So it's all about how strong is the d pawn.
Because yeah, I guess if queen g5, rook takes c6, there's no more perpetual, right?
And I have found one brilliancy here. So if you try to be smart with rook e7, trying to exchange pieces, there is a brilliant move here by white. Bishop to e5. And if you capture, this hangs. If you capture, then queen e7 hangs. But wait a sec. Black has also got something here. Black can simply play rook here, bishop f6, and king f7. And takes. Should be draw, I think, with some chances for white.
See, that's why I never try to be smart. I always throws some. There's always some movie you didn't see.
Mhm. Okay, so maybe let's just go for the next game. Can you tell a little bit about the place, and I'll be back in a moment.
Yes. All right. Well, we've got Ronan against John, and John is our resident speed demon lately. Only used a couple minutes in his win last week. Ronan does play a little bit fast himself sometimes, but not nearly to John's standards. So we'll see how much time John used tonight. But definitely up and coming player. So Ronan on the quest to expert, and John probably on the quest to national master in the coming years. And Ronan plays both E4 and D4, so pretty resourceful player. Um, I played him a couple times. I played both these players a few times. John used to play D4 all the time. He's been changing it up, but when he does play D4, he likes to play Nimzo um, and some other things. And Ronan played Grand Prix Sicilian against me, and I think I played him. He played a Carol Black. So these guys are totally regular players. The club's lucky to have him playing so often.
All right, so let's have a look at the game.
Perfect.
So it is Nimzo Indian, the Rubinstein variation. So this was founded by Rubinstein, the idea of knight e2. So the idea is very simple. Uh, White just wants to recapture with the knight, and that is why they play knight e2 on next move e3.
So
So okay, yeah.
I play Nimzo myself, and I played this. John has played this against me as with White. So Ronan might have picked, not the best option against John, just because I know John knows this very well from the White side.
Yeah, it's playable, like from both sides, I believe. It's just a game, and okay, in modern chess, we have found many times players just go back, they don't capture, and they try to play c5, knight c6. But then again, at some point, he can give rook b1, some kind of a b4 with queen a4 ideas, and with check, he can capture. So we need to know a little bit of theory here to get better. Like, for example, he played rook b1, knight c6, and now, why not? Mm, I believe some, and bishop d2, and now it's threatening b4. The point is, I take, and simply some kind of a bishop b4 or knight b4. You will capture and give queen a4 check, and when black will go knight c6 to defend the knight or the attacked piece on b4 or a5, then there will be d5. And after capture, there won't be any knight d5 because the uh, the pin is not more anymore, because okay, I'll just show it. So b4 takes, and the point was, like, you play bishop b4, for instance, you capture back, or knight b4 line, maybe queen f4, knight c6 check, knight c6, and now d5. The problem is now takes, simply there's a knight d5, and you cannot capture because of the pin. So if the bishop is on d2, this doesn't work, and white can capture on d5.
Interesting.
So that's why bishop d2 was played. But maybe after takes, there's a one more idea. After knight b4, queen a4 check, there's a bishop d7. Okay, come on, what's happening? Okay, so bishop d7. So now, if I play bishop d7, queen a4 check, queen a4 check, and now d5. The point is, now take, and white can capture on d5. So if the bishop is on d2, this doesn't work, and white can capture because of the pin. So if the bishop is on d2, this doesn't work, and white can capture because of the pin. So
Okay.
in the range.
I think we're getting a tiny bit of lag again.
So in the bishop d2, it's loading slowly. Yeah, in the game he played bishop d2, c takes d4 was played, e d4, and e5, trying to break up the center. Maybe b4 was also possible, but okay, he just decided to play bishop g5. And this sometimes this g5 is possible. Like we have seen the current world champion playing many times like this g5 and 94 ideas. But John decided to keep it simple. Is the lag better now?
It's yes, it has improved.
Okay. So bishop e2. And yeah, this I was talking about. That's why I didn't want it to play d4. Like the main thing is, or I didn't want it to allow this capture here. The main thing is the whole purpose of the Rubinstein variation is that whenever your opponent captures on c3, you capture back with the knight. But instead, what happened in the game? He captured, and now he simply allowed bishop 6 c3. And now look at this structure. If pawns are the soul of chess, then it has been ruined. Like it's totally damaged. Like, and now black just simply castles. Bishop e2, and okay, black can continue normal rook e8 or something like this. But instead, we have another surprise. Now black ruins its own soul by playing g5. Like the king was just safe, like it was not safe here. He castled, and then he's playing g5.
Yeah. Also,
Like why?
look at the time usage in order to play g5. He's still he's still and there's no way. Come on, you can't be in prep here.
And the sad part is White has lost this game.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's how it goes though. It always comes down to the last blunder. So, and actually, John, it is annoying because John is an extremely strong player. So, uh, even though he's playing fast, he does play good moves. So, he could probably play even better moves if he thought about them, though. And I'm pretty much sure about that.
Yes, but yes, if your opponent also ruins everything, like you can play rook b2 and make castle or something, just go h4 maybe. Attack the king. But look, he's playing f3, he's also weakening his king. Like we just discussed, like the pawn moves creates weaknesses. So now we have got so many weaknesses to defend here.
Yeah, I feel like
He even killed knight d5.
go back to queen takes d4 just for a second because I actually feel like that was a pretty good move by Ronan.
Which move queen takes?
Yeah, because I mean you'd be tempted to play cd4, but maybe bishop f5 is coming.
Yeah. No, the tactical point is this is winning on the spot. So if king d1 does knight c3 and if king f1 does knight d2. And if you play rook b4, then maybe just, as you said, bishop f5 is also possible. Or even this one tactical idea, knight c5 and capture. But okay, yeah, bishop c5, f5 is simpler, I believe. And for queen b3, you can do the same thing. Much better version.
So we can see there. This is not a blitz game. This is a classical game. Ronan's calculating all those lines. Yeah, you can see he's using his time because c takes d4 maybe looks nice positional. I don't like my pawns doubled, but it doesn't work tactically. So you need to calculate that and realize, well, I need to play queen takes d4.
Yeah, no matter how good or bad John played positionally, but tactically he's still so accurate. So he is playing good chess by that way. Like now, I think simply rook e8 also was very good, not allowing white to castle. Now f3 was again bad. Knight c5 is a bit risky, and I'm still trying to understand what he wants after bishop d6. What he wanted, or even queen d6. Instead of taking on g3, okay, that 6 is hanging, I know, but and white played king f2, I'd be like, okay, I just want to get rid of it. Like I just put my rooks here and I win this game anyways. But now he will lose tempo. Bishop f5 is coming, for instance. Even rook b7 is coming if I'm not wrong. Why is not capturing this? Or why he hasn't captured this? Like it's so obvious. Instead, he went rook d2. Like you win this pawn anyways, right?
I wonder
Can
if
you see something?
he's maybe worried about knight c5.
Yeah, but knight is already on c5, so you can play here and oh sorry, you can play here, and after knight f4 you go here. At least I mean you can play rook
Yeah,
b4, you can play anything else, but at least like
collect an extra pawn.
yeah, I mean this is important pawn, you grab it. Knight looks very very bad there. Very surprising. Like he plays knight f4, rook takes b7. At least I cannot say anything.
Yeah, well, John must have. That's a strange move by John too. He's like he wants him to play rook takes b7. So
And he took 2.5 minutes and made his first mistake, I think. First
yeah,
tactical mistake.
because yeah, what's John hoping for here too? It seems like knight a4 is just a bit strange.
All right, let's move forward. Play rook d2. And come on, he's defending all these pawns. Just play bishop b4, bishop here. And if he takes the pawn, it's very, very nice for white actually, not black. The diagonal gets opened. Or also you can play simply queen d5, trying to exchange queens, put more pressure here, and have two bishops in the endgame and convert the advantage. But instead he went on playing, look what he did. He's just playing this moves. Like he goes to b1 to d1, b2 to d2, again d1 to c1. Okay, look again rook b2. And maybe someday this will come and knight d3 will happen. He lost the pawn as of now. And yeah, I think this is a good moment to take on e2. Yeah, he did it.
Nice tactic.
Yeah, and some just knight d3 bishop 8. Instead of playing knight d3,
Yeah, let's show queen takes just for the viewers.
uh, went which move?
Yeah, queen takes rook.
Ah, okay. So quintus rook. So yeah, so for quintus rook, it's very simple. You can capture on b2
Yep.
and go knight d3, or you can play knight d3 and capture. It's your choice. Like you want to win instantly or exchange queens and win. So it's a typical fork, and yeah, it was about to come. Like if the bishop and it's like this knight like this, it's gonna come someday. It came, and now what I'm wondering is why I did not play knight d3 and went bishop d3 instead. Because knight d3, there's no rook a2, the c1 hangs. And he's winning on the spot, but instead he went this. Okay, he wanted rook e2, which is also clearly winning. So very good tactics by John to convert or win this game. And he designed here. Yeah, I think overall a good game by John. And but I don't approve g5. If you want to play g5, John, you just play it here right away, like Gukesh does. Don't castle and play g5. If you want to play g5, play right away, straight away. And you go 94 and you play the way you like the complicated game or try to take the bishop or win pawn structure.
Yeah,
But if you play like this, like you castle, you do everything you wanted to achieve, and then after achieving some positional advantage on the queen side, you are winning your king side. But that is wrong.
yeah. I also just want to make another appeal for John to use his time more effectively because I think that's actually it's a practice skill to actually use your time, think about the positions. You might think I don't. John might be thinking to himself, I've got a good record against Ronan, and maybe I don't know if he does or doesn't, but maybe he does, and I don't need to think about it. But you need to actually practice focusing, thinking hard, because when you get really difficult opponents, when you get high rated opponents, you're going to need to have practice doing that. And if you never concentrate for a full classical game, you're never going to be able to do it because you haven't practiced again. So even if you're playing weaker players, you should be practicing using your time and concentrating because it's a skill in and of itself within chess. Just focus.
Absolutely. And now let's talk a bit about the open section. We have got Toffee winning against Robert, Jamie won against Patch and Ivan. I think a new player joining in. We'll talk about it all this, but we had one game going on between Thomas and Daryl. We just got ended because Daryl was low on time and oops, Thomas managed to queen the pawn in the end. So yeah, all the games from open section has finished. Let's have a look at them one by one.
Perfect. This is still Premier section.
Uh,
Got
a
Robert.
topic section.
Yep, Torphy's Premier, and yeah,
Okay, then we have one
he's
more from
he's
top.
expert, I believe, and Roberts is always Premier.
Yeah, no, looking at the Alekhine, I thought it's from the open section.
Yeah, no,
So
Robert plays Alakine himself too. You know, so
wow.
yep, we got yeah. Alakine is not super common, but you know, you see everything. You see everything at this club for sure.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll try to make my comment list for Robert today.
Yeah. So D5. I'm not familiar with this line, but
This is just unknown line. Like they just, I mean, your opponent plays Alekhine, and this is called Alekhine declined. There's no line like this.
yeah, he wants him to play
You,
like
there's
E5,
only one move. You
E5,
play E5. You play,
Vienna Gambit or something.
yeah, you just play D4, knight f3, bishop e2, bishop c4. Okay, you play something, and some other move. But if you don't push E5, it's Alekhine decline. There's nothing else. That's what we call it. So D5, E5, and I'm happy that he did not play D4. Otherwise, it would have been equal game. Played knight D7, and now we are going into some kind of a French, where White refused to play D4 because White is Robert. Like the most natural move is D4, knight f3 or f4, knight f3. But no, you will not play D4 because you want to create your own theory. And again, he played D6. Okay, you got chance to play D4, but no, you will not play D4. You will play everything else on this
Yeah,
planet available, but not
Robert
D4.
Robert likes to carve his own path.
I don't know how he's going to develop his bishop. Like, and now he gives him C5, knight C6, everything, but not by and didn't play D4. Like now, look, he's just losing a pawn here just because of not playing this. Who loses a pawn in French or Alekhine just like that?
Yeah, no, probably
Just
not. Probably, you know, this is one of the times to play more principled. You know, black's starting to play principled. So black started with Al kind of a bit unprincipled, but then switched to principled play, taking over the center, and uh, white omitted principled play from the start.
At least in this position he could have realized that he needs to play d4. Like the king is not developed, you want to break up the center, and at least you prevent black from developing his bishop. Yeah, and you're threatening something like 25 knight d5, so you are likely to win a pawn back. Okay, there's a6 annoying, maybe not possible to win yet, but at least you can give a threat, right, to attack something. But instead he did every single thing. He played queen f3, something. A4, I don't know what A4 means or what it has to do. He just didn't want to develop the bishop.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it look
A4
95.
is
It makes
A4 is
no
so
sense. It's a
strange.
free piece.
You need to
It's a
develop
free
bishops a
piece.
lot.
You keep my free piece.
What?
You keep my free piece. Like this, it makes zero sense. If you can still play d3, anything on this planet, you
Well,
can
look,
capture
he's not.
d3.
Hey, come on, you can't play knight to again on the time usage. I know I'm always harping on this point, but you can't stack a piece without thinking about it.
And he's playing 95 like with 30 seconds and like full time on the clock, just
Yeah,
blundering.
it's a valuable. It's like a tank of gas. You got to use it. You know.
And look, he played rook a3 everything, and but no touching bishop. I won't be surprised if the game ends with bishop on c1.
Yeah. What is Robert? What are you doing in this game, bro?
So
Okay,
he
finally.
tried.
Okay, now he can get bishop developed. Finally.
If you develop the bishop, it's a win for Robert. No, he cannot develop the bishop. The bishop, a1 rook can come to f1, but the bishop cannot go out.
Yeah, yeah. And F4 is blocking his own bishop in, but
This is crazy. I have not seen any game like this in my whole career.
no,
If
we
I come
know.
to US someday, I'd like to meet Robert.
We know we know he's got the skill. He's got 2187 peak. So, uh, and we have seen some pretty brilliant attacking games by him, but just tries to force it every game. And so I think there's a clear blueprint to play against Robert. Just play solid positional chess and let him sacrifice a piece. He, you
He
know
did every
he
single thing.
he doesn't
Oh,
he
I
doesn't
mean, what?
respect material.
And now look, he gets the piece back. Okay, look, he's getting g5 coming up. He's getting the piece back. So Toffee just exchanges the queen. He's like, okay, that's just trade pieces, and and still he's not playing bishop b2.
So Torfi giving the piece back, just going for these connected passers on the queen side.
He,
Still a
he
big advantage.
basically, sorry, basically gave the piece because Robert is anyway not doing anything with the bishop. Like it makes no sense. And when he attacked with rook e1, he played bishop b2, but just to get lost in like the next move. Like there's just no life for this bishop. It's just gone if a3 is coming.
Yeah, this was a tragedy of bishop c1. He's like, guys,
Yeah,
come on, I want to help. I want to help. Put me in, coach. And he's like, sorry, bro, you're benched this whole game.
come on. Okay, it was a simple win in the end for Toffee.
Yeah, bishop
So
bishop c1 must have gotten some bad grades. It was benched for this varsity game, so unfortunately didn't get to play at all. But
yeah,
plus stacked a piece, really down two pieces the whole game. It's all self inflicted. So and also without using time. So I don't know. I don't feel maybe Robert just wasn't feeling like playing tonight.
yeah. He had like full time more or less on 25 minutes.
But
I
I
mean,
do
if you, yeah.
I do want to say I appreciate Robert's play. He is the most I would say the most interesting player in the club. We always get have fun talking about his interesting openings. I don't think he's the player you want to model yourself after if you want to gain the most rating possible. But if you want to have the most fun possible, uh, I'm sure
I
you can't much beat Robert.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, he's not by far. I mean, so far in my whole life, the most interesting player I have seen. Like, I can like I have did commentaries. I've done commentaries on so many platforms, so many games of all level of players, but I have never seen such a player. I mean, I just cannot predict a single move of
Do you,
his,
do you
like
think
single move of it. Like what he will play next. Like it's impossible to predict.
he outdoes Ratnakar, or isn't there a guy who's always stacking on his pieces in India?
No, we don't have. Okay, we do have some light tals who sacrifices pieces, but not like this. I mean, he's 2200, like, and oh look at this, like, okay, he can blunder a pawn or something, he can miss something, he can blunder something, but I cannot play knight d5. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what the idea of 95 is. It just makes no sense.
it's nothing. He just thought, okay, if he blunders 25, okay, I get back the piece. I mean, the e7 is hanging. But why? I mean, why you can simply capture with the pawn? Why would he capture with the queen?
Yeah, he's just seeing the
So,
one line and going for it. That's also, yeah, again, time usage issue. Need to check,
mm,
double check.
yeah, quite possible. Okay, so let's go to the Jeremy versus. Okay, can you tell something about the white player? He
Yeah,
won.
I'm not really familiar with Evan, but um, looking forward to getting to know him through his games.
Yeah.
Yeah, also just so all the players know, yeah, I'm gonna start showing up to the club on Wednesday casual nights. So if anyone wants to meet me, play me in some games, or
Hmm.
tell me about how wrong my commentary was when I discussed your game, can show up on Wednesdays, and I'll be there from like 5 to 8.
Okay, so finally we have a player from UK who has played e4 with d3. Like, so this is the recommendation of Leela Engine, who whenever he plays, like whenever Black plays Khan, it used to go into this variation, the in-game variation. Uh, and
Interesting.
let's see what happens next. So bishop, okay, there are lots of moves here for Black. Knight f6, g6, bishop g4. He went bishop g4, bishop e2, knight d7.
Well,
Okay.
you're a Carol player, right? Have you faced this?
Yeah, yeah, many times. Like I've played this against Norderbeck, Ganguly, and so many. Like even okay, I've beaten Wesley in this online. With Wesley has played this against me.
Well, no better resume stamp than that. I've actually got
Yeah.
my own Wesley story. So Wesley usually used to live in our state. He might still. Um,
Hmm.
and I played a simul against him in like 2013 or 2012
Hmm.
at the chess castle at this exact same club, and
Yeah.
I almost got a draw. I had perpetual on the board, but I didn't execute the perpetual correctly, and his king escaped and he won. But so yeah, that was my nice moment against Wesley. But he was playing simul style though. He was basically playing like Robert tonight. Um,
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He has got great imaginary skills. Like I still believe, like when it comes to the imagination or some creative understanding, he's still one of the best players. No doubt he's one of the first chess 960 world champions. Okay, it's unofficial, or we cannot call it a world champion or something. But when like this the freestyle chess or something started, he was the first one to beat Magnus in the finals of chess 960. So no doubt he is like very creative, and like he has got his own crazy imagination of the positions which can would appear after 5, 10, or 15 moves. So that way, I think he's very by far the most interesting or creative player. But okay, we have a classical chess, lots of chess theory nowadays, very little scope for the to show up something in the opening. So we see decline of many strong players from top 5 to top 10, top 10 to top 20, and so on. But for sure, like from 2015 to at least 2022, like Wesley was the player to watch out, look out. I mean, one of the best players. I mean, he did not get enough chance to play candidates or something, but he was he's a great player. Even he has won the Champions Chess Tour, beating Magnus in the finals or something. Very few could have achieved this feat in beating Magnus in the finals. Okay, people have started beating Magnus in after pandemic, uh, but no one has really beat him in a match or in the finals. So beating Magnus in the finals is also, I think, a big thing, very big thing.
cool. Thank you for that context. Um, so yeah, and then Jeremy is also he's every month player. Um, Definitely has won the open section several times. He's always towards the top.
And usually, like Black tries to put bishop like this and make short castle or go king e7. But in this game, we have some new ideas by Jamie. He went long castle, and maybe wants to make something out of this. I just don't want to see the bishop remaining off it. Okay, I just want the bishop coming out. Otherwise, we should pair Robert and Jamie next game. Like, okay, he went g5. Why is not developing the bishop? Please develop, buddy. Please develop your bishop.
Dude, this looks like some crazy opening play by White to me too, though.
I think this, yeah, but these are the typical ideas. You play knight d2, knight c4, knight d2, bishop e3. So this is how White actually plays
And King C2
in this
and
kind of
King
setup.
C2 is just totally normal.
Yeah. So that's why they go like this. The c3, king c2, and so White is playing as per the opening plan, and you can see White has got 1 hour 34 minutes. So he's just playing as per the plan. So he's not thinking much. And Jamie is also playing fine, but he just forgot to develop one of the pieces. Like last 4 5 moves, he's not developing the piece, and he did not develop the piece for so long, and he still won. And like it's surprising. And now it's a checkmate threat here.
Let's
Knight
hear it.
b6 coming.
Oh, fishing pole.
Wait, f3 happened. Wow.
Okay, that doesn't.
Knight
You know,
b6.
the knight's covering it.
And wow, this guy is just playing even faster than Robert. Takes, but bishop e4 check is there. Why did not capture? This is simply winning, no? King has to be moved. Whatever you play, king a6 next. That's all. Yeah, that's all. Instead, he played a6, allowing pawn takes pawn. But okay, maybe for this also he has 94, and he cannot really capture. So maybe it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, this is what happened in the game.
Seeing that pawn takes for when they're picking up that rook.
And it's a mate, right? Isn't it?
Crazy.
So he had to give up a piece. And look, until this point, he was playing so fast. Like he was like blitzing out like 1 hour 35 minutes almost. And after 94, he was like, okay, come on, this cannot come. And he just panicked and game over. And c5 is coming and getting checkmated.
Yeah.
And now bishop d three piece. No
Yeah.
option.
We're seeing both players play ultra speed. I feel like this is just blitz culture now. But I swear, you guys can all get like 50, 100 points very quickly just by thinking in your games. You need to just focus and double, triple check everything. You got that whole giant hour and a half time bank to use. There's no reason to. You're not showing off to your opponent by using less time. I mean, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Guys, try to use your full time. I mean, we have given you 2 hours or 1.5 hours to think. So, irrespective of you win lose, I think we should utilize our full time, because we are not going to carry forward the time remaining into the next game. So it's just for the one game, and it's a resource which has been given to you. The time, the most important thing, time. You cannot buy time. It just goes. Like once the time is gone, gone. When the game is over. You cannot get back to that. So when you have got time given, 90 minutes to make your own moves, make use of it. Playing fast means nothing. You have to make good moves in chess.
This is a bit of an exaggeration, but with some of these games, I wonder if we've spent more time analyzing ourselves than they spent thinking during the game.
And another interesting thing to notice in this game, okay, well, black is just winning up a piece, but here also black gives piece for nothing. Like for no reason, he plays knight c5. Free piece. You capture, he captures. After king before, there's nothing.
Okay, but we do see Jeremy thinking on some of these moves.
And okay, he just gives back. And okay, he has got two bishops, so he managed to win in the end with bishop d5 and so many things. But I mean, who plays like rook g8? Come on, rook g8 to rook g3. Like, if you want to play bishop, you move the bishop anywhere. No first.
Yeah, there's no discovery there either because rook takes.
Yeah, rook c3. Or even king c3. Like this is well guarded.
Yep.
I mean, you do anything. You play bishop b2, bishop f6, anything. Like anything is fine. But who plays rook to the close file, inviting rook g3?
Yeah, because he wasn't thinking about that response. Just wants to get that rook on the open file, but gotta
Maybe,
blunder check.
maybe it's fine because the bishop protects the rook, but definitely not the right way. And now look at this move. Threatens nothing. If you capture, okay, you win. And if you play like this, you win. Not win. It's just losing only. And that is not harmful, so we can just ignore it.
He's getting ready to check though. Okay,
Yeah, but
setting some discoveries up. Okay, look. Okay.
He could have played this at least. I mean, you cannot give pieces for free, no matter what.
Full piece is always too much.
Yeah, and okay. Easy game for Jeremy. I think after spotting this idea of takes on e4 or knight takes e4, if you would have played knight d to one move, the story would have been completely different. Just one move, like develop your pieces, guys. That's all.
So
and you will anyway do the same attack.
Both sides kind of showing that they've studied their openings well. They know the right plans. but both sides also kind of just neglecting to develop their last piece. You need to just complete your full opening, get that last piece out, get knight d2 out, get bishop g7 out, before you get entranced by your middle game plans.
Hmm.
You, you gotta be like Nubair's level before you're breaking the rules. Honestly, everyone thinks like, oh, it's a classical game. I need to think about, maybe I can break the rules here. And we did see Eddie break the rules pretty successfully in his game, so it's not like it can't happen. But in aggregate, if you complete your openings following opening principles and just develop all your pieces and castle, you're gonna have a lot more success in your games in total.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely. So, in short, guys, we can summarize in one line. If you want to break rule, you have to simply outcalculate your opponent, or you have to calculate like machine. Only if you can calculate perfectly, you can break rules. Otherwise, do not even think about breaking rules because it will only harm you. Like, for example, no need to look for some brilliances with this moves when your king is under fire. There are some problems here. You cannot play like this. This e4 is and knight e4 is coming. The h1 would be hanging. Just develop your pieces. One move, and anyway, you're gonna do the same. Like so, no matter whatever opening you play or whatever level or whichever group you are playing into, it is important to follow the concepts. And and let me tell you very honestly, Wesley game also, it was like this, and he also did not play like one. He did not develop one of the minor piece, and he got checkmated in the middle of the board. Just like we had some idea here, right? And suddenly we had this knight c5, knight coming like this. So his knight got trapped on d2, and I got a piece or something, and I managed to win that game. Okay, it was a bullet game, but whatever it is, like if you do not follow the principle, or maybe it was a blitz game. I was streaming that was live on my channel as well. So
Cool.
it is important to follow the principles, even if you are at the highest level, or even if you are playing in the beginners category. If you do not follow the principles, even Jeremy is going to find out some tactical ideas because he also solved some puzzles. And even at the top level, we have seen two 2000s or top five players also losing to 20 moves at times because of just not following the principle or trying to play some different opening.
Yeah, I think that's a good
So
example too of not trusting your opponent. You might think, hey, this guy's top 10 in the world. Maybe he knows what he's doing, not developing that piece. What does he know that I don't know? But no, you just think he's breaking the rules. I'm going to try to punish that the best I can, and let's see what happens because, you play against the pieces, not the player. So if your opponent, it doesn't matter how strong your opponent is, if they're playing weird moves, uh, try to punish them. Do not trust them.
abs- absolutely. So all right, let's go to Thomas game. So Daryl was playing Thomas. It was
Yeah, here we got
okay. I'm happy
two
not to
channel
see Stone.
viewers, so these guys watch every week. Thanks,
Ah,
thanks
nice.
for watching, guys.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. And yeah, no Stonewall from Daryl or any group, any player from the open section. Okay, it was a normal game so far. Rook b1, 27. So it is very much similar to the Grunfeld main line where the pawn is on e4. So in this game, white played e3, so the pawn is on e3. Otherwise, it is one of the main lines of Grunfeld with the pawn on e4, like black plays rook d8, bishop g4 ideas. And okay, white has got some bishop e3 or bishop g5. So here, because he has not played e4, he can attack something and have stable center. But in return, black also gets this bishop f5, attacking the rook and some tempos. He did not play bishop f5. Okay, cd4. Oh, sorry. I was just talking about stable center, and we have e takes d4. Now this is very bad. Like you have developed your bishop from this side, not like to facilitate the bishop from this. If the bishop is here, I can understand you play d4, but with bishop on a3, you must only play c takes d. First of all, it will keep your pawn structure intact, like they're in one, they're all together. You can use the c file in future, let's say. But if you play like this, you create 3 pawn islands or 3 pawn chance with 2 islands, very weak. So in long run, it's not going to be good, and that's why Thomas has won this game. Now again, what is the sacrifice?
So
I think the players are inspired by Robert in the open section.
yeah, so he was seeing a brilliant attack, but it doesn't look like it was quite enough. So let's go back to when he sacked bishop f7 just for a second and think about how we want to evaluate if this is going to work or not. Because I think
I mean, it's
you can count the pieces, right? I mean, how many pieces are coming in? How many pieces are defending? Right? We got one piece
yes.
coming in, one piece defending, right? At most, you're gonna have a 2-on-1. Usually, you want at least plus two pieces, maybe.
Yeah, very true. At least we need to have three pieces to attack, and here you are sacrificing the first piece, so it's not going to be attack. It's going to be a disaster. And you could have played bishop f1 because for this we do have some bishop b4 attacking the pieces, some tactical ideas or possibilities. For instance, which I just saw one idea: bishop b4, only move is queen c7, I believe, and then we have got this queen f4 attacking the rook and knight, and now this is winning because after knight c6, fight at d5. So white could win this by using this tactical idea. So basically, black cannot capture here. Maybe he has to play bishop f5 or something else. But so what happened in the game is this: bishop f7, just a free piece, and now it's winning for black.
Okay, but
That's all.
he was trying to deflect the queen so he could sneak in there, but
Yeah, but it's just an idea. So
it's
Thomas defends it well.
yep. And then now hang the rook on e8.
hmm And okay, he tried a few more moves, but okay, once we're down a piece, wait, what? Okay, he got some tactical idea here. So here, Daryl got exchanged, but in return of very, very active pieces like bishop f5 might come someday.
See, I'm really loving. I can tell. Hey, these guys watch the channel and they can see what we're talking about because look at their time use. Both of these guys are going in the tank. They're thinking about the game. So let's think about how much time he used on bishop f7 too, because maybe we don't necessarily need to criticize it too much if he did a lot of calculation, and it's maybe just outside his calculation abilities currently, but it's not like he just did that totally impulsively, right? How much? So back it up just a second. How long did he think before he did it?
Yeah, so it took 11 to 12 minutes roughly.
Yeah, 12 minutes. Okay, so he did a deep think, you know,
Yeah, yes, he did.
and he just kind of miscalculated a little bit, but it's still that's how you want to pursue a piece stack like that if it was to work is you go in the tank, you think about it deep, and you make sure I like everything about that, and then you make it happen. You don't just do it on vibes. And so even though it didn't work, I still want to compliment Daryl here for at least spending a suitable amount
I
of time for a sacrifice like that.
I think he missed this idea. Okay, he must have found queen f3, e6, and bishop d6, and he thought, okay, he captures, and okay, he gets the material, and it's fine. Like he has got enough, like 2 pawns, and maybe rook for 2 pieces, and maybe fine, fair deal. But the problem maybe is he missed this queen d7 idea, and now after this, there is nothing or no possibility for simply the knight is coming back, or the pieces will be kicked very soon.
Perfect.
Okay,
Yeah,
he did find it actually here.
and we see Thomas doing critical problem solving just with queen d7. So that's also what if you throw your thinking cap on, you can find these solutions.
He eventually got a rook for 2 pieces, and then b6, bishop b7, I believe. Yes. And yeah, now this is as good as losing because the bishops are very, very strong. The knight is super strong. It's just a matter of a time that everything will start falling in white's position.
Yeah,
Yeah, b5, c6.
we got another sample just like from last week. 2 pieces is better than a rook.
Yeah,
So
and also the
this
bishop is a bit trapped.
a nice little tactic there.
Mhm. He has to give up another pawn, and okay, he just lost material in
Ooh,
tactics here
nice.
and
Yeah,
there.
yeah. If you play it, show king takes just for the viewers.
Yeah, just 92 is there. I'm not sure how great it was, but he could have tried this because it's a color bishop endgame. I know you're 2 pawns down, but I don't see a pass pawn coming up or getting
So yeah,
created.
that's something to
But
be.
okay, if this happens, maybe yes.
Yeah, you got to be ultra careful about not ending up in an opposite color bishop ending. if I'm on the side of a bad ending or in a bad position, I'm searching for opposite color bishop endings and I'm searching for rook endgames because those are the two
Mhm.
that I feel
Have the
like
best.
I have a chance, even if I'm down pawns, to draw.
Yeah, it has got the best drawing chances, no doubt about it. So it's opposite color bishop and rook endgames, guys. And okay, but in this game, he just lost material. He could have played b4 simply and maintained his two bishops, but he um, decided to give it back. D4 bit premature, but works because the h pawn is very, very strong. And now simply the king will come in. Okay, I don't know why he's playing a6 or something. Just play king g2 or king g2 and win it, or a5 and win it. But okay, he played a6, captured king g2, h2 wins. Any design here.
Well,
So I think in game there was nothing much, but well done, Dial, for finding or fighting back with this knight f6 idea. You got an exchange, and maybe here somewhere around you could have tried doing some rook e8, rook e8 idea. I know you did not get time because there was a b6 coming in, and immediately he plays bishop b7 on the next move itself. But you would have figured out some way, somehow, let's say b6 here, check, bishop goes, king goes somewhere, bishop b4 or something, and now you've got a5. Or bishop b7 is also possible. Maybe it will go in black's favor at the end of the day, but white had some chances, so he created chances with an f6 check.
yeah, I love to see that Daryl kept fighting even after his sack didn't work. A lot of people mentally resign after their initial attack doesn't work. But Daryl, kept trying to find more chances and actually might have had some. And so that's also want to definitely congratulate Thomas. I'm hoping he crossed 1700. It's down. I think he was going to if he won tonight. So I'm hoping we see Thomas in the premier section next month, and because he's been playing some really strong chess. Again, yeah, he beat me in a blitz game yesterday. So it'd be really interesting to see Thomas paired up against some of these premier guys.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see in the final round 5
Perfect.
next week. And we have got one more game from the open section, that is between Mish and Roger.
Yeah, and last piece of context here. So yeah, Mitch, another channel viewer, he likes to solve puzzles with me and Connor as well. And Roger is a huge benefactor of the club. So Roger is basically the reason the club is still around. It's donated a lot of finances to the club over the years, and we also celebrate Roger with an annual chess tournament called the Roger Hale Chess Celebration. We had one this past August that had a ton of strong players. So definitely want to thank Roger. We probably wouldn't be having the broadcast or even the tournament without him. So thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Roger. Really appreciate your efforts to help chess and grow chess. An interesting move here by Roger, knight d7, taking upon a lot of the theory, and okay, trying to have some c6, c5 ideas, delaying knight f6. Maybe someday f5 also possible. Let's see what he had. Okay, knight f6. And okay, sooner it got transposed into some Queen's Gambit lines. Okay, so until here it was good. Now you can play c6 or bishop e7 or h6, but not bishop c3 for sure, because if you give up the bishop, then it's not good. And also the pawns are going to be undoubled very soon. If the pawn remains double, okay, makes sense in this structure. But Broger, if you're watching this, do not capture like this. It's very, very bad.
Don't do it unneeded.
And now there's a threat, guys. The queen is getting trapped. Watch out. No h6, okay, in such positions. Bishop b7,
Sees the threat.
takes. And yeah, you got a good position, a weaker king. Now the only thing is just capture, get the queen to h5, go f4, rook f3, and some attack. So you can start with this. And okay, if he captures the pawn, it's terrible because simply queen h5 wins. If he captures with what we call it, queen, we have got e4 idea simply, making a positional advantage. And the same goes for bishop d5. You can either play e4 or queen h5. Queen h5 f5 will come, so maybe you can start with e4 and get the queen like this, rook e1, rook e3, rook e3. It's like the one of the simplest plan for me here. Let's see what happened in the game. He gave a check first. Okay. And he just went for the pawn,
Yeah.
exchange pieces. Okay, decide to keep it simple. A fine game, I believe. Okay, so when you're down a material, guys, you cannot play king pawn endgame for sure. Just keep playing this same game: rook g4, rook g8, rook h8, whatever, or even rook d8 with the idea of b4, but not rook takes e1, whatever happens, because not only you are down a pawn, but your opponent has got a clear pass pawn. So it's going to be a game over for sure.
Yep. Usually, if you're trying to draw in the rook end game, you just want to keep your rook as active as possible. When they attack your pawns, you attack their pawns. Um, just try to do
Yeah,
checks from a distance and just keep your rook super active. And sometimes you actually can draw those end games. It's it's easier for the defensive side to draw than it is for the offensive side to win.
very true, very true.
Um,
The winning side always has to find the only moves. And yeah, okay, he just converted in the most simplest way, and yeah, it's good.
I want to show
Do we?
one final
Yeah,
thing. Go back to when they could have played Queen H5 around that phase. Um, I
yeah,
did,
here.
yeah, I did just solve a tactic recently that it doesn't apply here, but it is kind of interesting. If you think about them playing, if you playing Queen H5, you're threatening Queen takes H7, and they're going to play F5, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes, if they after they play F5, you can play Bishop takes F5, E takes F5, and now that D5 square is really weak. So maybe you have Knight takes, maybe coming in with maybe you're attacking their queen, and then you're playing Knight F6 next. So don't always just dismiss because you see that F5 pawn chain breaking up your attack, because sometimes you can use that mechanism to actually get at the D5 square. So it's like, oh, I'm start, and then get at their king. So yeah, it's a bit contrived, but it just I'm seeing the same pattern, so I wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. So definitely, and whatever guys you do, you cannot change the truth of the game. That checkmate ends the game, and that's why you should not allow such moves or weaken your king for no like for silly reasons. Like there was no reason to do all this. Just don't do this, and you still have a good position or equal position. Anyways, coming back to the top board of the premier section, we have seen Connor losing that end game. He could not hold this, though it was a draw as per I think so. But they just played the end game, and I believe your f5 was important to make, or at least h5 to fix the pawn structures a bit. But instead, he went this and allowed g4. Now after this, we get another weakness, and that's some problem
So
because when you play g6, they can play rook g7.
a bit of a tragedy for Connor, uh, missing his chance to master here, but he definitely has got the strength, so he's going to get before too long, and now we're going to get to have another dramatic moment in the future when he's on the verge. So, and maybe we'll even get to have a race between Connor, Miles, and Dane for that title. So, and also definitely want to compliment Miles. Great job playing gatekeeper tonight. And it looks like Miles is probably. I'm curious to see his rating after this month's tournament because he's probably on the way to 2200 himself, playing like this.
Yeah, I mean, very good game by Miles. I mean, the conversion in the in game was also very clean. We could see the Miles is leading this tournament with 3 out of 3. He has beaten Robert in the first round, then he beat Eddie, and now Connor. So probably next game he'll play Zager, who has won on board 2, beating.
Well, this is the final round, so
Oh, this is final round.
4 round tournament. So I believe, yeah. How many points did Connor have?
Connor has got like all.
Yeah,
Oops,
so
sorry.
it looks like they're going to be co-champs. I think split the price.
So Connor has got 3 out of 4.
Yeah, so
He lost my.
it looks like Miles must have taken a bye for so yeah, maybe Miles
Uh-huh.
got I got a feeling Miles yeah, so Miles is actually gonna win the tournament because he probably took a half point bye, so he's gonna have 3.5. We just don't see that on the broadcast, but
Okay,
that'll be reflected in the standings. So yeah, Miles looks
nice.
like he took first this month, so he kind of not only did the master block, he won the whole tournament himself, won that $150 prize. So congratulations to Miles.
Wow, that's nice.
And it goes to show, yeah, it's nice that we have a competitive club. You know, we've got you never know who's going to win any given month, especially between Connor, Miles, and Dane, but then also maybe even Eddie in the mix.
Yeah, and also there's a Nathan, Eddie.
Nathan, of course, and so yeah, we are lucky to have this level of competition. So thanks for playing, guys. Perfect. Well, I think we're running past time, so I don't think we already kind of recapped most of the games. So I think we'll pretty much call it here. But thank you. We had Nubair all 4 weeks this month. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Next month we're gonna have OK for the first 2 weeks, local national masters. So look forward to seeing a new face on the channel, and hopefully we'll see Nubair back before too long. So thank you so much, and really appreciate your commentary this month, Nubair.
Thank you so much, guys, and